Hello, today I'm going to address and answer the oldest question ever since we've been able to reflect on ourselves. And it is the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? And I hope that my approach will bring a fresh and even useful perspective to some of you today. And so to address that question, we must first address a fundamental notion. There's no such thing as one fixed and absolute reality. Only our interpretation of it, our version of it, our experience of it. It is different to anyone else's. Now, how do we know this? Well, first, quantum physics teaches us how no matter exists in a fixed state. Everything in the universe is both waves and particles, and it's only when we are observing something that it becomes a thing. In other words, everything is energy, but when we are choosing to look at something, then it becomes matter. It becomes a thing. And the most interesting part of it is that whatever we observe is defined by the observer, by the position of the observer, by the tools that he's using to measure that thing. So what it means is that if different people are observing the same thing, they will have a different perception of that thing that they're observing, by virtue of the fact that they are observing it from a different position with different set of tools to measure that thing. Now, if you don't appreciate quantum physics, it is not a problem, because neuroscience also backs this up. There's been tons of research and studies and very simple exercise that demonstrates how we are creating a reality in our brain. We're not observing reality as it is, because there's no such thing as reality as it is. There's only a brain that is trapped in a dark box called the skull, and getting some electrical signals from our body, and using those electrical signals to imagine a reality for us. Now, I understand that this may be difficult to get a head around if we have not been introduced to that sort of conversation before. And so I would urge you, if that's the case, to go and watch a TED Talk by Anil Seth called You're Hallucinating Your Conscious Reality. He will explain in his TED Talk all of this in much better way than I can ever do. It's a video that blew my mind the first time I saw it 8 years ago, and I would highly recommend it to everyone. It is life-changing. Next, psychology. Psychology also demonstrates this. And this is how it works. As we grow up throughout our developmental years, we're going to create a belief system. And I'm not talking here about religious or political belief. I'm talking about subconscious belief. They're essentially the collections of all the filters and lenses from which we're going to perceive the world through. They're not only telling us what we are looking at, but also how we must respond to it, how we must feel about it. And so there are beliefs associated to everything and anything. There are as many beliefs as there are moments, situations, perspectives, feelings, and thoughts. And because we are all humans, so vastly different and intricate, what this means is that there's not one single person in the world that can ever experience the same thing as anyone else's because of our specific set of beliefs. We will share and agree on some aspects of reality, of course. But because of our belief, because of our emotional state in that moment, because of our priority, because even of our very physical point of view, there's not one person that can ever experience the exact same reality as you or anyone else's at the same time. And this is a very fascinating idea to entertain if we are in a crowded place. We can look at people, observing, watching all of those people going out and about their life, and imagining a bubble around their head. And this is essentially what we do. We're all living in a bubble, assuming that everyone is sharing the same reality, when in fact no one is. And so why am I talking about reality? Because if there's no such thing as one absolute reality, it also implies that there's no such thing as one absolute truth. Many of us are obsessed with the truth. And what people forget is that the truth, no matter what we believe the truth is just another belief. And so the more some people are obsessed with the truth, the more they're trying to force the truth on others, the more they're only displaying either or all of three things. Number one, the inability to self-reflect. Number two, the emotional instability. And number three, a potential desire to control and manipulate others. And so If there's no absolute truth, there cannot be one fixed and absolute meaning of life either. In other words, life has no meaning. Life has no intrinsic meaning. But this is good news, because it means that if life hasn't got any meaning, we don't need to find it. We don't need to seek it. We don't need to pursue the meaning of life. We get to give it. And this is my gift to you today. And I hope that some of you will share that meaning by the end of the video. And if not, it's also okay. And so here it is. The meaning of life is to experience it. We come into this existence to experience the human experience, to find out what it is to be us, to be a human being, and to basically explore the full spectrum of our human condition. We're going to discover through our trials and tribulations the full spectrum of human emotions, states, and thoughts. We will all experience joy, love, happiness, excitement, hope, connection, creativity, gratitude, forgiveness, and inspiration. And we will also experience pain, loss, fear, anger, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, resentment, jealousy, judgment, helplessness, grief, and despair. We will all experience all those things and more in various levels of amplitude, intensity, duration, and frequency. And we will all experience all those things for different reasons and at different times of our life. But we will all explore the full spectrum of the human condition. And the most important aspect of it is our ability to navigate through that existence. It's what we're going to do, how we're going to deal, how we're going to address all of those emotions, states, and experiences. And so if you are struggling with your life now, if you're feeling low, remember, you are a story. What matters is not how you're feeling in this moment. What matters is not whatever happened to you up to this point or how you're seeing yourself. What matters is your next move. You may not be able to change everything right around now, but you can certainly learn how to find a way to redirect the trajectory of your life in the better direction a little bit more every day. Because this is what life is about. Life is a journey, not a destination. Your life is an ever-unfolding story. And from a psychological perspective, you are literally a story. You are the story in your head, and you are the story in your body too. But it is a story that you are meant to change, because it is your story. If your life is difficult at times, it's because we need contrast, to have points of reference. It is only when we have experienced fear that we know what it is to feel safe. It's only when we've been heartbroken that we understand the value of love. And it is only when we have lost ourselves that we can find ourselves. And so think about all of your favorite books and movies. They all have adversity, complications, problems, deceit, disappointment, villains, uncertainty. Without any of those things, there wouldn't be stories. Think about this. If the Titanic didn't sink, for instance, this wouldn't be much of a movie, would it? Now, some people say, what about people who had a terrible life, or a very painful one? What about people who died at a very young age? What about people who never had love or success? And what about the evil ones, the one who hurts others? What kind of story is that? Well, as far as the universe is concerned, all stories are valid. But the reason we can't comprehend it is because we're looking at this from the perspective of the ego. And this is precisely why we're judging those stories. Because we're looking at them from the position of the human, of the self, that is limited by our belief, by our desire, by our expectations, by our comparisons, and by all of those arbitrary standards that our ego and society have created for us. We judge others and self because this is what the ego does. It judges, expects, compares, condemns. If you could shift perspective, we would see something different. Remember the principles of quantum physics. Whatever we observe is defined by the position of the observer. And so if you could zoom out for one moment from the position of the ego to the position of the universe, then we'll be able to realize that life is not happening to us, at us, or because of us. Life is just happening. Life is a happening, and we happen to be there. That's it. We are no more no less than the continuation of a story that started a long time before we were even born. But because we started our life in a certain way, doesn't mean that we have to carry on that trajectory, on that momentum. We can all, at any given point, upgrade our life, and all that we have to do is to let go of the belief that don't serve us anymore. All we have to do is to locate and let go of our limiting belief, such as, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I don't deserve the good things in life, because we all do. And we only suffer because we believe that we don't. Now, some of us may not be able to realize this and self-reflect, and it is okay, because we're all here on a different journey. And remember, all stories are valid. But if you can't self-reflect, this is your chance to raise that awareness and do something about your life. And the first thing that I would recommend to you is to make sure that you find your tribe and that you hang out with the people who are on the same journey as you. And this is why you can never waste your life. You can never waste your time. Now, some people say this. Some people say, don't waste your life. Stop wasting your life. Stop wasting your time. And although most of them do come from a good place, they don't realize that they're only projecting their own fears and insecurities. This is their truth, their reality, their experience, their limiting belief. It doesn't have to be yours. Follow your intuition, take it one day at a time, and everything will come together at some point. Because everything is part of your story. Everything that ever happened to you, whatever you're going through in this moment, is all part of your journey. Everything that ever happened was always meant to happen, and anything that didn't happen wasn't meant to happen then or yet. And everything in your life, including and especially the worst and most painful experiences, are actually secret lessons in disguise, waiting for you to reflect on them and learn and grow from it. And so if you ever have regrets, don't. It's all part of your story. There's a reason for it. If you're ever procrastinating and you feel bad about yourself, don't. There's a reason why you are procrastinating, and it's never because of you. And if you suffer from the fear of missing out, everything is still and always possible in some capacity, because your story is still going on. This is all part of your human adventure. Nothing is ever lost, nothing is ever wasted. And every day is a new opportunity for you to let go of limiting belief and to create a reality that you prefer. And this is the most empowering aspect of all of this. The more you suffer, the more you struggle, the more joy, peace, elation you will find when you explore the other side of the spectrum. Because everything in life is about contrast. And so the more you're going to expand one side of the emotional spectrum, the more you will automatically stretch the other side. In other words, the harder your pain, the sweeter the relief. The longer the suffering, the greater the reward. Conclusion, life has no meaning, no intrinsic meaning. You get to give it a meaning. Everything is possible, everything happens for a reason, and you are here to experience your own growth and make the most of your human adventure, no matter what start you had in life, and no matter what baggage you carry. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this, do subscribe. If you believe that some of your friends could benefit from that video, do share away. And do join one of my live streams if you can. I come live on YouTube every Wednesday and every Fridays from 6 p.m. UK time until 8 p.m. And so that's it. Until next time, remember that you can never waste your life, because you are an ever unfolding story. And the story is not over until it is over. And your story is so much bigger than the confines of your ego or the judgment of others. And if you can trust the universe to support you, you will enjoy your best possible life. Bye now.